This is the video breaking down the crucial concepts for Book 5 in the Wilson Reading System. Okay, in Book 5, you hit your next syllable type, which is open syllables. So open syllables, I think, are pretty straightforward to teach because I'm actually look at the best example. Okay, here we go. There's a simple one. Because it just means that the that the VIP vowel has nothing behind him. It is open. He doesn't have that he doesn't have that consonant working as a bodyguard to make him smile and feel safe, as in like a closed syllable. And he doesn't have, this is not a real word. Well, here we go. Yeah, that's not a real word. He also doesn't have like a V-E, a silent E behind the consonant, jumping over the consonant, making the vowel say its name. It's just open. So I feel like it's pretty straightforward. The name makes sense. And in an open syllable, the vowel just says its name. So if we tap this out, we would tap it out, go, because there's nothing behind that VIP vowel. Then, once they get the concept of an open syllable, you go ahead and introduce some of the prefixes that are open. So the pro is the only one that we have up here, but some of the other common ones are co. Re is a really common one. Re to do again, that's an open syllable. So once they get the concept of open syllables, you can introduce some of those really common prefixes. And remember, with affixes, we always circle them to show that they're an affix that we add to a base, like re-do. Do would be the base, re would be the prefix. Once they have the concept of open syllables, now you do two-syllable words that include open syllables with the closed and the V-E syllables that they already know. So for example, we might have stew is an open syllable because that VIP vowel is left in the open. So open syllable, I teach them how to mark it up. Stew, dent. Right? Dent is a closed syllable because we have these bodyguard consonants behind the VIP vowel, making him feel safe and smile. So then he says his short vowel sound, which is what they say in closed syllables. So stew, dent, student. I do have students do a lot of marking up of syllables when I first introduce a new syllable type, and especially when I'm combining them with the syllables that the students are already familiar with, just because it's great reinforcement. Once they get this concept, then you can introduce two-syllable words that use some of those open prefixes that you just taught them. So for example, call, right? Re is the prefix or the affix, it's circled. Call is the base word. Re is open, call is closed. This is the basic concept of 5.2. You're just combining all the different syllables into two-syllable words. You stick to two-syllable words. You don't want to overwhelm the students with too many syllables yet, so you just introduce those two syllables. Once they are confident with those, then you move into, well, before you move into 5.4, which is when you do 3- and 4-syllable words, you introduce the concept of Y at the end of words that have open syllables in them. For example, we have this word. Empty. Emp is a closed syllable because this vowel says his short vowel sound, iere. He's got two bodyguards behind him, empty. And then this last syllable is an open syllable. Y at the end of a multisyllabic word, if there's nothing behind it, it's going to say E, as in Y, baby, E. We've introduced this sometime in book 4, I forget when. But we've introduced the two sounds that Y can make when it's a vowel, Y cry I, Y baby E, and this is when students start practicing that concept. So empty, empty. That's 5.3. Then we jump to 5.4. In 5.4, you start getting into really long words. So kids know 3-syllable types at this point, and now you're exposing them to 3- and 4-syllable words. So there's a lot for them to keep track of. Do not rush through this sub-step. For example, vol, K, no. Start exposing them to these. I might call them up one at a time to label these syllables. Vol, is a closed syllable. K is an open syllable. No is an open syllable, right? And if students ever get confused, have them go and look for these VIP vowels. Okay, what is behind the VIP vowel? Oh, a consonant, so he acts as a bodyguard, makes him smile. What is behind this VIP vowel? Nothing, so it's open. What is behind this VIP vowel? Nothing, so it's open. That is always a good prompt if students start mixing up their syllable types. And then, once they feel good with 3- and 4-syllable words, you can kind of reinforce it with those prefixes again. So co is an open affix, pi is an open syllable, and lot is a closed syllable. So again, I would have them mark these up. Remember, long vowel sound you mark with a macron. I just call it a dash with students. And so open and V-E syllables both use that macron because both those syllable types make the VIP vowel say its name. That is 5.4. Finally, in 5.5, you do a second round of schwa. Now you remember you have introduced the concept of the evil Mr. Schwa in 3.1. In 3.1, Mr. Schwa is extra evil because there are very few helpful rules to actually help us know when to use, which vowel to use with the spelling of the different schwa words. However, in 5.4, you introduce two pretty concrete rules about using schwa. So the first one is A, Alaska, So, if you have an A at the beginning or the end of a word, it is very likely going to say as in A, Alaska, Alaska is the key word that we use for teaching this concept. And this is a schwa sound because it makes that that kind of dying vowel sound or lazy vowel sound. A, Alaska, There are a lot of words that use this concept. Alaska, data, extra, America, Antarctica, lots of countries and continents, geographical terms. So this is a great, very concrete lesson for kids to work on. After they get the A, Alaska, and this concept of schwa at the beginning or end of a word, then you teach them I complement So when you have a schwa sound, complement, right? We don't say compliment or compliment, we say complement. It's a schwa sound. So if you have a schwa sound in the middle of a word, it's always going to be spelled with an I. So that's why, and complement is the key word. I compliment, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I compliment I'm saying that wrong. Yeah, I compliment that's right. So the schwa sound is in the middle of the word, you spell it with an I. If the schwa sound is at the beginning or end of a word, you spell it with an A. That's why this is a really common word for kids to struggle with and misspell. Until this point, I've taught it as a high frequency word, like an irregular high frequency word, because we've not learned this rule yet. But once we've learned this really weird schwa sound in the middle of a word is always going to be spelled with an I, that mo makes a lot more sense, the spelling of this, because al is a very common suffix that says o. And now we know why the I says because it's in the middle of a word and makes a schwa sound. That is book 5. This is a great, once kids have jumped over the hump of learning multiple syllable types and becoming fluent and automatic with them, you're really going to start to see an increase in their independent reading level and their independent reading accuracy. So it really becomes an exciting time to kind of see what all the nitty-gritty skills that you're working on, how they translate to their independent reading. And those are the crucial concepts for book 5.